I just need a change. I just want to do something a bit different. And Rob was an XTERRA triathlete himself and did a bit of mountain biking. He was like, well, why don't you try doing some of the off-road stuff? There's a few of us involved in it. You can race for the Agegroup team. I thought, okay, I'll give it a go. So the first race that I did off-road is called the Stinger, which was a duathlon based in Plymouth. And I think to this day, it was like the hardest race I've ever done.
Welcome back to the Agegroup Multisport podcast YouTube channel with me, Richard Conway. And that was the voice of our guest this week, Kerri-Ann Upham. Now, this podcast normally for age group athletes, and this is the first time we've actually got an elite on to share their story, but Kerri-Ann has come up through the ranks of age group racing and turned professional and is now racing the elite cross series world championships. So yeah, it was too good to turn down, really. It was nice of her to get in touch in the first instance and send a link to a story and get her on the pod. So I hope you enjoy it. Come from humble background, not really liking sport much as a kid, and it just goes to show where you can get to if you put the hard work in and you find something that you really enjoy. I hope you enjoy Kerri-Ann's story that's coming up. A bit later putting this podcast together this week. It's Tuesday as I'm recording this. We've just got back from a weekend up in Scotland and we were at East Fortune, which was the British Champs Sprint Duathlon and a qualification race for the European Championships for 2026. One of the nice things about doing this podcast is that you get to meet loads of fantastic athletes, and some you keep in touch with more than others, but we still recognise each other at races, and this weekend just gone was no exception. Met quite a few of the athletes that I've had on the podcast and caught up and had a chat, albeit a brief chat before and after the race. So it's always nice to do that. And just a big well done if you took part in the duathlon at the weekend. I hope you got the result that you wanted to. The conditions were really kind. It was I think about 15-16 degrees, dry. It was a bit windy, but yeah, all in all, this time of the year in Scotland, it was a lot better than I'd hoped for, to be honest. So we'd gone up on the Friday as one of our teammates, Steve Hunt, who's actually been on the podcast. He's got a farm up there. So there was 6 of us from our team, Triathlon Club, went up and were racing. And so we all stopped over for the weekend, and it was really, really nice, not just to race, obviously that's why we went up in the first place, but just to spend the weekend together. It was really cool. We had a really good time. Got there on the Friday. I mean, it's a hell of a drive. It's like 5 hours. We took the van up because we had the 2 bikes with us, and it was 5 hours up. But nice drive up. There's no rush. The traffic was pretty good, and once you get the other side of Newcastle, it's quite a nice experience driving that side. So yeah, the drive up was pretty good, and we'd got there about 4:30. First to arrive, and the scenery up there is stunning. Steve's got a wind farm up there, and so we're quite high up. But yeah, really, really good. And then on the Saturday, we went and recce'd the course Saturday afternoon, and we had a ride around the course. And it's typical old motor racing circuit, you know. It was almost very much like Darley-Moor. It's almost triangular, couple of hairpins in there, sharp corner at the bottom, and you've got a bit of an incline onto a back straight, and and that was a 9-lapper. So I think the complicated bit was making sure that you'd done the 9 laps. So we went and recce'd that, and we were quite happy with what we experienced. And then Sunday, race day, the race wasn't until the afternoon. The ladies were going off at 12:30, and the guys were off at 1:30, which was a bit strange, to be fair, because we're usually up 9 o'clock-ish when we're racing. So it's about changing tactics for fueling and stuff. It's a bit odd, not used to that, having an afternoon race, but it was fine. You just adapt. So to the race itself, the ladies went off first, like I said, and Mrs. C was racing with 3 other teammates, and it was great to watch them, albeit we didn't see them finish because our race did overlap. We started at 1:30 and they hadn't quite finished, but we got to see them race quite a lot, and we heard all the stories afterwards, and they were all very, very happy with how it had gone and really, really enjoyed it. And personally, it was a bit of a race of 2 halves for me, to be fair. I finished it, but the first run, which was 5k, really, really did well, and it was the fastest run I've done in a long, long time, about 19.5 minutes, and I haven't ran that. Well, as everybody knows listening to this, I've been injured, and I haven't run that quick for a long time. So that was really good. On the downside, I didn't seem to have anything on the bike. I got to 3 laps, and these groups kept catching me, and I was trying to latch on, and I just couldn't keep it. I just did have no power in my legs whatsoever. I don't know whether I've gone too hard on the run. First run, I don't know, but it was very, very disappointing, much to the point where I nearly quit, to be honest. I just felt like it was just not going to be my day. So, but I didn't quit, I carried on, and I got the bike done, and then got the second run done, which wasn't too bad actually. The pace was okay. And it was quite good. So I just can't put my finger on why I just couldn't perform on the bike, and I'm still mulling it over now. But I guess you get races like that. There could be lots of different reasons why this happened, but yeah, at the end of the day, it was a great experience, and it's great to be back racing, and that's all I've been keeping. It's all I've been telling myself. It's nice to be back and nice to be able to do this. So we build from here, and we just carry on. I think the biggest disappointment is that I've been doing this Zwift build me up plan, which seemed to have been working from all the stats that I've got from it, like your FTP's gone up and power's gone up, but yeah, it just didn't transfer to the bike on the day. So I don't know, can't work it out. So yeah, but fantastic weekend. We came back down Monday after we'd been to the coast, and the other thing was, after we finished the race, we went to the coast, found a pub that Betty could come in, and we had fish and chips. So that was nice. So that was the weekend. Really, really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to the next one. So this week coming up, we'll just be taking it easy. I'll probably spin my legs today after I've finished this podcast, just to get them going, because I have serious DOMs yesterday and today, to be fair. So yeah, we'll slowly get back into it and get ready for the next race. Couple of podcast recommendations. The first one was the Runners World UK podcast, and they had Joe Pavey, 5-time Olympian, on, and they were talking about running as you age, which was obviously right up my street, and it applies to everybody because we're all aging. But Joe was discussing how she, at the age of 40, became European champion, and how she prolonged and maximised her performance at that age. and she was just going through basically how she did it and her secret. So that's really, really worth for anybody. I mean, we're all getting older, aren't we? But anybody getting in the 40s, 50s and 60s, it's she'd come up with some great tips. So that's well worth a listen. And then the second one is the Simon Ward podcast, and he had Indy Lee on as a guest, and I've listened to Indy Lee on podcast previously, but this one was fascinating because she was talking about how after she'd done so well at the beginning of last year and won one of the T100 races, that she just wasn't happy, and it was affecting her racing because she'd been away from home for so long. And I thought that's, see, it was such a candid conversation with Simon. I thought it was really, really, really good. A great insight into even professionals have these issues, So yeah, give that one a listen. Really great. She's great to listen to, Indy, because she's such a personality, and really, really good podcast. And then was watching a little bit of sport over the weekend. There was the indoor triathlon race at Liévin in France, and it had a couple of the big hitters in the men's. Hayden Wilde was probably the biggest name, and in the ladies, Cassandra Beaugrand. She was there representing France, and obviously being the Olympic and the world champion, that drew the crowds in. And it was a really good event, as it was last year when I watched it. Really, really enjoyed the format. It's all indoors, a little bit like the Super League, but they've actually got a track where they run on and the cycle round, as opposed to Zwift. A pool in the middle of it, and so it is fast and furious, and they have heats and rounds to get to the final. And unfortunately for Hayden Wilde, he didn't win. He was too far behind in the swim and couldn't quite make the podium. It was taken by the German Henry Graf, and Antoine Duval, the French guy, was second, and Mitch Kolkman from Netherlands was third. Hayden Wilds ended up fifth, and the Brit Jack Willis, he ended up sixth, so he had a good race. So it was really, really entertaining to watch. That was the men's. And in the ladies, no surprise, Cassandra Beaugrand won the whole thing by quite a considerable margin, to be honest. And then it was a German second and third with Laura Lindemann and Anna Koch. And yeah, it was, again, really good, exciting racing. And just where it is, the format was just really, really cool. And then there's been some cycling on over the weekend. Milan-San Remo was on, and Mathieu van der Poel beat Tadej Pogacar and Filippo Ganna to win that one-day road race, which was really exciting to watch. So that's it. Let's get on to the main event now, and I hope you enjoy this one, and we shall see you on the other side.
Yeah, so my name's Kerri-Ann Upham. I'm an elite XTERRA triathlete, and I am based in Exeter in the southwest of England. So for those of you not familiar with XTERRA, it's a form of off-road triathlon which involves swimming, mountain biking and trail running. Typically the distances are 1,500 metres in the swim, around 35 to 40k on the mountain bike, and then a 10k trail run. And they're pretty brutal. Some of the courses are quite tough. So although the distances are quite comparable to an Olympic distance triathlon, I'd probably say in terms of effort, you're more close to a middle distance triathlon. I mean, they tend to take a good 3 hours to get around them. So yeah, can be pretty brutal courses.
Yeah, and having done one myself, I can actually concur with what Kerri's just said, because it was really a shock to the system when I did my first one. But yeah, really, really good fun.
Yeah, definitely. So taking it back then, as a child, I wasn't really into sports. And as I look back now, I kind of smile, because you never would have thought that I'd landed where I've landed. So my mum used to drag me to my swimming lessons, kicking and screaming. I would never walk anywhere. I wasn't really sporty at all. And I guess it wasn't until I started secondary school that sport really came into my life. So starting a new school is always daunting, but when you're a bit overweight, you've got ginger hair and you wear glasses, it's even more difficult. And I would look at the sporty girls in my class and I just wanted to be like them. I just wanted to be good at something, but I didn't really know how. And I think the defining moment was when I was in one of my PE lessons. We were doing 800 meters as part of our athletics lesson. And I couldn't even get around that 800 meters without walking. I was that unfit, and I just didn't have the mindset to keep going either. I just gave up as soon as it got difficult. And then one of the girls was sort of poking fun at me, saying, "Oh, it's not easy to beat Kerri-Anne," and just, making fun of my weight, etc. And that really lit a fire within me. And I just wanted to make a change and do something about it. And I realized I was going to have to put the work in. So me and a friend, we joined every sports club going at the school. We did netball, basketball, badminton, athletics, you name it, we did it. And I was never the best at anything, but I wanted to be the best, and I was willing to do what it took to get there. So I distinctly remember when I started playing basketball, our coach used to say to us, when it's raining outside, all of the good basketball players are out there practicing. The bad ones are sat inside watching TV. So I would purposefully wait for it to start raining, and then I would go outside and I'd be dribbling the ball up and down, shooting baskets, just practice. And I actually came across my basketball coach a few months ago. Actually, I met him in the sports centre in passing, and one of the things he said to me was, Kerri-Anne's really good at practicing. And I thought, yeah, that kind of sums it up. I don't really have any natural talent, but I am willing to put the work in, and I'm not going to stop until I get to where I want to be. Yeah.
Well, like I said, that goes a long way, doesn't it? Tenacity and not giving up, and actually putting the work in, doing the work. It's obviously got you where you are today. So,
Yeah.
Well done for persevering. And especially as a kid, it's not easy when you've not got natural ability, and we all go through it when you see other people that are just the same. It's effortless, but that doesn't last, does it? You've got to put the hard work in.
Yeah, 100%. So in terms of
what happened next?
Yeah, I was just going to say when triathlon came into my life. So my mum took me through the swimming lessons system, and then after that I joined the local swimming club with a friend, probably only attending 3 or so sessions a week, and nothing groundbreaking. I mean, I didn't even make the county championships, let alone get any further than that in swimming. But it was when I was 18 that triathlon started for me, and my uncle actually entered Ironman Switzerland, and he was doing his training in the pool, and I would jump in and join him, try and keep him motivated, because at least there was something I could beat him on. And he was really keen. He was like, "Oh, you're a good swimmer, you should do a triathlon." And at the time I was like, no, I can't run, I hate running, I'm not doing a triathlon. And he eventually managed to convince me to go out on the bikes with them. So I went out with my uncle and his friends at a local tri club, and they taught me how to ride in a group, how to clip into the bike, all the kind of basics. And I really enjoyed it. And I soon found myself out riding with them for like 3+ hours, just exploring the local lanes, and really enjoying it. But the running was still something that I wouldn't touch, and I wasn't going to do a triathlon because I just hated running so much. But eventually all of the guys at the N1 Tri Club in East Devon, they were so supportive of me, and I think they enjoyed having a youngster in the group. So I entered my first try, which was the X Valley Triathlon, I think, here in Exeter, a little sprint try. And because I was a good swimmer, I had to go in the final wave. It was a pool swim, and that was really intimidating because you're like with all the best ones, and I knew that they would just all come past me when we got on the bike, and they did. But I still managed to win my age group. I think I was the only one in it, but
check it.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and from there I continued doing the local sprint events with the club. I think being a part of a club was a big part of it. The kind of community atmosphere and everyone being so friendly and encouraging. So yeah, that's kind of really where it started and how I got into triathlon on the road side of things.
Yeah, isn't it amazing how, like, if it wasn't for your uncle doing that triathlon in Switzerland of all places, why did he choose Switzerland? Was he living over there? Or?
No, he wasn't. No, I don't know why. He could have picked an easier one.
Well, if that hadn't crossed your path, it's like you might never have got into it at all. Did you know about triathlon before that at all?
No.
Amazing, isn't it? Just always like, I just think it's so how paths cross and things happen for a reason,
Yeah, he likes to remind me of that as well.
Well, he will do now, especially for what you've gone on to do. He'll be taking all the credit.
Yeah,
he'll be dining out on that one for a while. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, how did the progression go?
Yeah, so like I said, I was winning my age group at most of the local events, but pretty much because I was the only person in it. And then after that, I went to university and I stopped doing triathlon for a while and picked up rowing instead. So another kind of tough sport. I'm a complete novice at it, so I had to learn it from scratch. My technical skills weren't that great, but I had the best scores on the ergo, so kind of relying on my physical fitness and strength to get me through. So kind of going back to that thing I said at the beginning, that hard work kind of beating the talent. So no natural talent for me, but I had the best scores on the ergo, and that was enough to get me in the boat. So I did rowing for a couple of years, and I tried to continue that when I came back to Exeter after my studies, but it was difficult to manage that alongside working as well. I think when you're in university, everybody's in that same bubble, so it's a lot easier to manage training sessions, etc., because if one person can't make the session, then the entire boat can't go out. So I kind of decided that was the right time to flip back into triathlon, because I enjoyed the fact that the training was a bit more flexible. You didn't have to rely on other people, and it was just easier to fit in around work. So I joined the Pure Endurance Triathletes, which was a different local club based here in East Devon, and I targeted the Weymouth 70.3 event. So the half Ironman event locally here in Weymouth, and trained with them for that, and got a good result, came fourth. And it was at that point I was like, I'm so close to the podium. I really want to go to 70.3 Worlds. So I thought, I'm going to get a coach. I'm going to get a triathlon coach and do this properly. So I teamed up with Rob Moore of Try More Coaching, based down here in Exeter. And over that first year with Rob, we made huge improvements. And I went back to the half Ironman at Weymouth, and I improved my time by a whole 20 minutes. I was really pleased. Wow. But I still finished fourth. I was gutted. That massive improvement, and you still end up in the same place. So I was like, I just need a change. I just want to do something a bit different. And Rob was an XTERRA triathlete himself and did a bit of mountain biking. He was like, well, why don't you try doing some of the off-road stuff? There's a few of us. There's a few of us involved in it. You can race for the age group team. I thought, okay, I'll give it a go. So the first race that I did off-road is called the Stinger, which was a duathlon based in Plymouth. And I think to this day, it was like the hardest race I've ever done. It was just the conditions were brutal. It was just so muddy and slippery. I had an entry-level mountain bike, so like 3 chain rings on the front, 27.5-inch wheels, tires just not up to the job at all, and I was just slipping, sliding everywhere. I couldn't understand why. I just couldn't stay on my bike. It was so frustrating. And somehow I crossed the finish line, and I was just hugely relieved that I got round it in one piece. And then I was so surprised to find out that I'd actually won the race.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. And at that point I was like, I want to get better at this. It was quite nice to be a beginner and think, I can start afresh, learn a new skill, and I've got so much room for improvement, my skills, my equipment, everything. It's just like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. So just going back to your 70 point, well, actually going back before that, you'd done your triathlon, but you'd said that you didn't really like running. Right?
Yeah.
So how did that develop, that side? Because that's not... We've got quite a few people in our club that don't particularly, the triathletes, but they don't particularly like running. I love running, so for me it's brilliant. So how did you get over that to become a triathlete and do so well?
Yeah, well, it was always my least favourite discipline, and it was always something I struggled on. And I used to work on the swim and the bike, and the run was just a means to an end. It was just the thing I had to do at the end to survive the triathlon. And it wasn't really until I started working with my coach, Rob, that I started to enjoy it, because I realised I was running too fast. So I was running too fast in training. That I think a lot of us have this realisation at some point in our triathlon careers. You're always trying to get a PB when you put your trainers on and go out the door. And he's like, no, he introduced me to zone 2 training and keeping your heart rate low. And I'll just be like shuffling around and my heart rate would still be sky high. But after a few months of persevering and being quite strict with yourself, it really does get easier. And then you start to think, it's actually quite enjoyable when I'm not trying to go out and thrash myself every single session. So I think that was where the penny dropped. I could do my easy runs easy, and that meant when it came to the hard stuff, I could really put the effort in and go hard and go fast. You
decided that you actually quite like running, and your coaches got you into a good place. So 70.3 then, why did you go into that distance particularly?
I think it's just because the guys in the club that I was training with had targeted that event. So we did it as a team. Right. I think there's like 10 of us all went to do it. Yeah. And it was, hadn't done one before, new challenge. I knew I didn't want to do an Ironman. That was way too far. But it's just a good opportunity to do something different with a good group of people. Yeah,
I think that's tends to be how it goes, isn't it? If you're in a club as well, you get roped into doing these distances and things, and if there's a group of you going, which is great, because it does point you in a different direction sometimes, or spur you on to try different things. So really cool.
Yeah, and it's good because it's a lapped run course as well, so you see each other on the run and encourage each other, and that was really good fun as well.
So you said that you got a coach and he persuaded you to go to do the off-road. What happened after your first one then? Where did it take you?
Like I said, it was the toughest race I'd ever done. So I think when I immediately finished, I was like, I'm not doing this again. It was way too hard. But you know what it is like. A few days, weeks, months pass. You're like, perhaps it wasn't so bad after all. And I really just want to be good at it. I want to get better. And then my coach said to me, do you realise that you can race for GB age group doing cross triathlon? He said, you could probably use your result that you got from winning the Stinger, combine that with your result from the 70.3 at Weymouth to prove that you can swim, and put that forward as your application to go to the World Championships. So again, I hadn't heard of age group racing at all before, right. But I thought that it sounded interesting. I'd give it a go. So I put my application in and I got my place on the team, got the suit. And my first age group race was in Denmark in 2018.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess that's where we took it next. Yeah.
And how did it go?
I came second in my age group at that one.
Wow.
Yeah, great experience. I think the first time you go to those age group things, it's all a bit surreal. There's so much going on, and everybody walking around in their GB kits is quite daunting and intimidating. But once the event comes around, everybody's so friendly and supportive. It really is a nice atmosphere.
And what are the numbers like in your age group then at that time?
Quite low, yeah. I think probably just a handful of us.
There isn't much of a take up still, I think, in all the age groups, even now. To this day, it's quite low, I guess. I'm not sure the reason. I don't know whether people are put off by the courses or riding a mountain bike. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I suppose it's just visibility as well. Some people not even knowing this form of triathlon is out there and exists. So yeah,
cool. So you enjoyed the experience, and it made you want to carry on and try and race more for GB.
Yeah, definitely. So sort of combining the age group racing with XTERRA racing as well. So that same year I did the XTERRA in Belgium, which is quite renowned for being quite a tough course, but I won my age group in that one, and I came in the top 10 as well overall. So I was really shocked at that, because I was so nervous beforehand. I remember sitting at the start thinking, I'm not even going to get around this course, let alone think about getting a result here. But you do. It's never as bad as you think it's going to be. You go around the practice loop, you think, the climbs, the descents, it's scary. But when you're actually in race mode, it's completely different. And there's such a good atmosphere at the XTERRA events. It's quite a small community, so you kind of get to know everybody quite quickly, which is really nice.
Yeah. And can you just explain for people who are not aware of what XTERRA is? The formats.
Yeah, so XTERRA, I guess, is a brand of cross triathlon or off-road racing. So similar to, you have the middle distance championships at the age group races versus the Ironman branded events. It's just kind of the company that organises them. Yeah. And the Europeans are actually being run by XTERRA. Here, aren't they, over in Czechia? Yeah, that's right. Which I thought was a really smart move, actually, and so reasonably priced as well. Yeah, 100%. The XTERRA Czech team, they're really well organised. They put on fantastic events. I've done it 3 times now, and I think it's actually my favourite XTERRA event. So yeah, I was really pleased to see that announcement that they've joined forces, and it was going to be in Czech again for 2025. Yeah, well, we'll put a marker in there, because I want to pick your brains about that in a while. So what happened next then? What you done? After that first year of continued racing XTERRA and age group as well. So I think it was into 2019. I finally got a win in the GB suit. So that was at the European Champs in Ibiza. Right. And it was at that point that a lot of my friends and the other people that I was racing would say, you should go elite, you're definitely good enough. And I was thinking, it's like a lifelong dream to be an elite athlete. Even though I wasn't sporty as a kid, I did have a little inkling in the back of my mind. You watch the Olympics, you watch the pros on TVs, and I was like, I'd love to have that lifestyle. And I mentioned it to my coach. I was like, I've come first and everybody's saying that I should go elite. What do you think? And he said to me, I think you're better off where you are. I think stay in the age group ranks, because if you go elite now, you're gonna get annihilated, basically, he said. Yeah. It's a big step up, and just because you've won your age group, it doesn't mean that you can go up and start racing with the elites. So it was at that moment that I thought, right, I'm going to do everything that I can to convince him that I am good enough. to race with the elites. So I made a little goal for myself that I wanted to be the overall age group world champion and European champion in the same year. And then once I'd done that, that would give me the confidence to step up and race with the elite girls. Consistently high results to give me that confidence that I could step up and race with the best in the world. So that was like some inner motivation for me to get my head down, get training, and prove to Rob, my coach, that I did have what it takes to be an elite athlete. So yeah, that was in 2019. And then following that, I had a couple of years of setbacks, really. So 2020, obviously, we had COVID. So there was no racing. There was no opportunity for me to prove myself. And then the first race out of COVID was the European Championships in Malvino. So that was another example where the ETU and XTERRA joined forces to put on an event. And I was like, well, that's the one I'm going to target. If I can win that one overall, then I'm going to step up and become the elite. And 2 weeks before we were due to fly out to Italy, I was out on a training run up in the forest, the same run I do every single week. And I just tripped. I can't tell you what I tripped on. It was just one of those freak accidents where I tripped over. I looked down at my knee and there's just a massive gash in it and really deep. Had to have 12 stitches put in, and that was it. I wasn't able to race. So I was absolutely gutted because I had this goal that I set for myself 2 years ago. COVID had happened. There was no opportunity to race. I kept training. I was ready to go. And then this freak accident weeks before was just, devastating. And all that time, I was just worried that I'm getting too old. I was like, I'm early 30s now. I think I was like 30 or 31 at the time. And I was like, my time's running out. I'm not going to be able to achieve this dream. And it was frustrating and disheartening.
Yeah.
But going into 2022, still keeping my head down, even more motivated than ever. 2020 was going to be my year. Then it was 21. I was like, right, 2022 is going to be my year. And it was. And that was the year where I had a real breakthrough. I pretty much won everything there was to win as an age group athlete. I was first overall at the cross duathlon for the world champs and the European champs. I was first overall in my age group at XTERRA Prague and the XTERRA Czech Republic, and also finishing in the top 10, including the elites of those XTERRA events. That gave me the confidence and credibility that I needed to step up and finally take that leap and join the elite ranks.
Brilliant. I mean, that, first of all, testimony to your coach for actually being honest with you at the time and saying, don't think you're ready to hold back. Because I think a lot of coaches, when they've got an athlete who's chomping at the bit, would just say, yeah, all right, go for it. So I think, although it slowed you down a little bit, it probably did you, as I was just going to go on to the injury, it's probably done you a favour, because you were more hungry,
100%.
When you couldn't get back. And it showed, didn't it? Because you won everything, like you said. And I think, it's like we said before, these things happen for a reason, don't they? It doesn't seem like it at the time, but, obstacles are put in the way and you just, you either sink or you swim, don't you? You take it one way or the other. And
that's it. It's devastation at the time and the whole world is ending, but you get through it.
So how's the process gone then from being, top age grouper to becoming an elite and a pro? What have you gone through for that? And how's your training changed, if at all?
Yeah, so Rob, my coach, he was right. It is a massive step up. And I mean, as an age grouper, you can kind of have a bit of an off day, a bit of a bad day, and I'd still be on the podium. No one would really notice. But you have an off day now and you're not even in the top 10. You're not in the race at all. And that's really, really difficult, but it's really fun as well because we actually get to race. I think when you're an age group athlete, quite often we're put into waves or it's more of a time trial start, but now I'm racing the same girls at all of the different stops. So you get to know each other, which is quite nice. And the biggest difference is actually being involved in that race. So you know where you are. It's quite different to age group racing where sometimes the person in your age group might have started 5 minutes before you and you don't even know where you are till you cross that finish line. So that was quite exciting. And then in terms of the training, we've just been stepping it up gradually. So when a few years ago, when I was just dreaming of being an elite athlete, I was like, I want to do 30 hours a week. I want to do all the training. I can do it. I can handle it. And Rob was like, no, you have to build up slowly. Otherwise you'll be injured. So that's what we did. So I dropped my working hours from 5 days a week to 3 days a week. So I've gone part-time with work, which has allowed me to do a bit more training.
And what do you do, Kerri-Ann?
So I'm a product owner for a healthcare IT company. So the company makes software that goes into the computer systems in GP surgeries. And then when the doctor's got a patient in front of them, if they're about to prescribe a medication that isn't suitable, our system pops up a message to say, oh, you shouldn't be prescribing this, prescribe that instead. So my role is to work with the developers that create that product. So office-based and work from home. They're all really supportive at work. I've been there for well over 10 years now. And they're actually one of my sponsors as well. So it's really nice to have that support network.
Yeah, nice.
So in terms of training, I was able to pick it up a bit. So we try and increase by like 10% each year to make sure that it's a steady progression and that my body can handle it. And I've really enjoyed that. I love training, getting my head down, getting outside. Just gradual increase really.
And how different is training for cross and XTERRA than for like a normal triathlon? And do you do anything specifically different?
Most stuff is fairly similar. I'd say that the most kind of fundamental differences are we do a lot of hill work, so on the bike and on the run, to make sure we're strong. Obviously, as I mentioned, the courses can be quite tough and brutal. Obviously, mountain biking is a completely new skill, especially for me. I hadn't started mountain biking until that first off-road race in 2018. So a bit of skills work on the mountain bike. And we also prioritise strength and conditioning as well. So we do a 90-minute S&C session every week. And I guess that's probably pretty similar for most triathletes, whether it's sort of on-road or off-road. But because we're covering such challenging terrain, I think it's really important that our bodies are robust and strong. I'm not the fastest, but I think if you can be the strongest for the longest, then that's more than enough to get you to the finish line.
And just going back to the skills on the bike, how did you progress and what sessions were you looking at to get your skills better?
So progression I felt was slow. It's just being consistent with it and being patient with it. It's not going to come overnight. So I used to get incredibly frustrated that I was slow to progress on the mountain bike, but it does come over time. So I think it's really just about getting out on the mountain bike and gradually building up your confidence. So once you get used to the local trail centre near where you live, having a look and seeing if there's any new places you can explore. So we like to go up to Cwmcarn in South Wales. There's some good trails there, and occasionally the Forest of Dean. And I also try and do some mountain bike racing over the winter, mainly just to give myself experiences of different courses, different terrain, racing in wet conditions, dry conditions, mud. You can't choose the weather on race day, so you've got to just deal with it. And that, gives you some more skills for when you're out on the XTERRA circuit later in the year.
Yeah. And did you have a special coach that helped you at all with the mountain bike skills?
No, so because Rob did mountain biking previously and XTERRA as well, his skills were a lot better than mine, so I could learn a lot just by sort of following his wheel and learning off of him, really.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, really good. So you are now a professional and elite athlete. What does your calendar look like when did you turn pro?
I think it was 2023.
2023.
Yeah.
So how does your calendar look year on year then? How many races and things do you?
Yeah, I try and do. So within the XTERRA circuit, they've got something known as the Elite World Cup.
Right.
So there's like 8 or 9 stops all over the world that we can compete in, and then you get put into a leaderboard, and then at the end of the year you're given a bonus based upon where you finish. So some of the races on the XTERRA circuit are part of this World Cup, and then they also have a handful of races that exist and you can race as an elite, but they're not within that series. So they tend to be, so the top pros tend not to go to those events. They tend to prioritize the World Cup series because there's only so many you can do in a year. So I like to do a mixture of World Cup races and non-World Cup races, so I get the experience of racing with the best in the world, but then I also get the confidence from being able to do well at the events that aren't on the World Cup. So I guess to highlight the differences on a non-World Cup event, I'd be sort of up there fighting for a podium position, whereas racing at a World Cup, to come in the top 10, you've done pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and also obviously I'm still holding down a job, so I've got annual leave that I need to consider and fit in, and just balancing what I enjoy as well, really, because I quite like going out to Lanzarote and doing a couple of weeks out there training camp. So I'd rather kind of give up a race and have a good quality block out of training in the sun.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all about balance really, and making sure that I still enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the key thing, isn't it? Enjoying it. Even though you're an elite, you still need to enjoy it. And just going back to Lanzarote, where do you stay when you're over there? And
we stay at the Barcello, Costa Teguise.
Okay,
Yeah.
Along from the airport, is it now?
Yeah.
Because we go nearly every year, myself and my wife, and we don't do an official holiday training camp, but we've been going for a considerable amount of time, and we're usually in Porticalero. It's a little port area, and it's got I think the leisure centre there has been open maybe 4 or 5 years now, and it's got a fantastic facility there, so we usually use that as training. But it's great in the winter, isn't it, to get over there and do a few weeks, some nice weather. So
Yeah, we love it. We're off in 2 weeks' time, actually.
Yeah, well, we were going to go again. We went in November for 8 days, and we were going to go again this year, but my wife's since become an age group manager, so she's got a race in, I think it's in May, so we've knocked this early Lanzarote trip on the head because we just can't get it all in. But yeah, it's our favourite place. We go there every year, at least twice a year, so love it.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. So what's 2025 going to hold for you then?
Yeah, so much the same really, a mixture of the sort of World Cup, non-World Cup racing. So I guess starting off, like I said, we've got a 2-week training camp in Lanzarote coming up end of March, beginning of April. And that's to kind of get ready for my first race of the season, which will be XTERRA Greece at the end of April.
Okay. So
that one is a World Cup event, and last year I went there and I came 12th, so I'm looking to crack the top 10 on that one. Great event on the circuit, and I definitely recommend it to any age groupers looking to get into XTERRA because it's quite close to Athens. It's just a 30-minute drive from the airport. It's beachside resort, so you can make a bit of a holiday of it, and just really nice friendly atmosphere. So that would be my first race. And then the weekend after that, we've got the XTERRA in the UK at Weston Park.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So that one's going to be a World Cup event this year as well.
Oh,
so,
right, okay.
yeah, it'll be a good atmosphere down there, I think, because a lot of the top elite athletes will be coming over after racing in Greece to join us at Weston Park and race in the UK. And I know Doug, the organiser's got a lot going on. There's duathlons, there's sprint triathlons. I think the park's got a bit of an event going on that weekend as well. So fingers crossed we get some good weather and we can make a good weekend of it.
Yeah, my wife, she raced the duathlon probably 2 years ago, and we just rocked up, and we didn't know XTERRA had been there. We were there. We got there on, I think, the Friday, and she was racing the Saturday, or maybe it was Saturday and Sunday. And Ali Brownlee had been racing, and we just rocked up, and he was there at the podium, top step. He'd won it.
Yeah.
Like, oh wow! Didn't even know it was a thing. That was the first time we'd come across it.
I did it that year. I did it the year that Alistair was there, and I got second and I got third that year. And I was, to have my photograph on the podium with Alistair Brownlee was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was like, but really nice event, like you've said, and really nice grounds and everything. She really enjoyed it. Yeah,
and I think it's, if you're new to off-road triathlon, it's a good place to start because the course isn't overly technical, so it gives you a nice flavour as to off-road racing without being intimidating and scary. You haven't got like huge features that you're having to ride over on your mountain bike. It's a nice kind of gentle introduction into the sport, and everyone's so friendly and you get to know people, and the more people that you talk to, you get to find out about all the different races on the circuit as well.
Yeah. So what's the hope then at the end of the year then? What would you like to have achieved?
So I guess my goal dream is to win an XTERRA triathlon, targeting some of those non-World Cup events. I've got a second, got a third. The next step would be to finally see that tape, hold it above my head and get that win. And then in terms of the World Cup racing, I'd really like to get into the top 7. So last year I was hitting the top 10. So to progress, I think, to the top 7 would be a good next target for me. Yeah.
And as changing from obviously age group to elite and a professional, has it been everything that you'd hoped for?
Yeah, I think so. I've really, really enjoyed being part of the elite bubble and everything that comes with it. It's the cool things like getting the media done and your photograph taken and having your own start. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's really scary and really nerve-wracking as well. But just being up there with the best girls in the world, and you kind of have to pinch yourself when you're stood on that start line. It is a bit surreal when I think of where I've come from. But it is a challenge as well. And although I'm elite, I wouldn't say I'm a professional athlete. We don't do it for the money in this sport. No, it is for the lifestyle. And I think that was one of the things that surprised me, actually. I thought, well, once I've stepped up to become an elite, I'll email a few businesses and I'll get some sponsorship. It'll be easy. But it doesn't work like that at all. No one really cares that you were the amateur world champion. All they want to know is how many followers you've got on social media. And I found that quite frustrating, actually, that somebody with hundreds of thousands of followers on social media can kind of get more support than somebody that's got the results. So just trying to find that balance, really. I've still got my career with First Data Bank, my job, so I don't need to rely on getting a YouTube channel or doing Instagram posts every day to try and get those followers. So I think it's, just maintaining that balance, like I said. Yeah, I mean, it sort of hit home to us because you think professional athletes, and we watch it all. We watch all the triathlon, the World Championships, the Georgia Taylor Browns, the Vincent Louis. We've watched it all for years, the Brownlees. We've really got a passion. We're fans of the sport as well as doing it ourselves. And we found out that Georgia Taylor Brown was selling a bike,
So we went over and we met her and we bought the bike for my wife, and she was selling it due to not being injured for so long and not racing, so she didn't have any income. You know what I mean? And it's like, you don't think that I'm not saying she was on the poverty line, but you don't think of things like, you think that they're making a good living. And I think it's changed over the last 2 or 3 years with T100 coming in and the Ironman stepping up with a series, and I think it's getting better. But you think professional sports people are going to be looked after and taken care of, and that's not the case at all, is it?
No, and I guess that kind of hit home with the age group racing as well. When you are an age grouper, you look up at the elites and think, oh wow, they must get support, or they're probably out on training camps or academies. And when I applied to become an elite in a race at the ETU event in Portugal last year, the only support we got from British Triathlon was the tri-suit. So we had to pay our own entry fees. You have to pay your own accommodation, flights, travel. And then when you get there, we don't even have a manager to look after us. Luckily, because I came through the age group ranks, I know Dave Pearson, who was the manager for the cross triathlon age groupers. So I could kind of get some intel off of him if I needed anything. But really, you're left to fend for yourself.
Yeah, which is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Dave well. He's been on the podcast a few times, and he's now my team manager. Well, congratulations with everything you've achieved. Because as soon as I read your story that you'd sent the link through, and it's fascinating from someone, like I said, a fan of the sport, to see somebody go from age group into the elite. It's a fascinating journey, and well done.
Thank you. Yeah.
So just going forward, what are your longer term goals then?
So I think I just want to stay in the sport as long as I can, and to keep improving, whether that's in staying in XTERRA or maybe going back and doing some more middle distance stuff. Staying involved in triathlon. Obviously based in the southwest, so I'm a big Donald Brooks fan. I think I'm gonna be the next Donald Brooks. So when I finish racing XTERRA, I just inspired by what he does, and age doesn't matter. You just keep being consistent, keep going, keep working hard, and you can achieve what you want to achieve. So just keep going as long as I can, I think.
Cool. Well, we look forward to following you and seeing how you're getting on. And good luck with everything. And I hope you do what you need to do to get on the podium, and and win one of the races in the series, because that would be fun. So
well, I'll see you in Prakatisi.
Yes, well, I just did want to pick your brains about that, because obviously you've raced there several times. When you go over, because we're deliberating whether we're going to drive the van over or we're going to fly over, how do you get over there for the first thing, and then what's it all like? What's the setup and everything like?
Yeah, we drive over, make a road trip of it, because there's another XTERRA event the weekend after in Germany. So then once we've raced in the Czech Republic, we drive across to Germany and race there as well. So we have like a good 2.5 weeks away. We drive over, we get the tunnel to France, and then spend a couple of days making our way down to Prakatisi in the Czech Republic. It's quite nice. We don't rush. I think as we do about 8 hours driving on the first day, and then 4 hours on the second day. Stop at the odd swimming pool along the way. And if you're going to fly, you will need to hire a car anyway. Not so bad for the cross duathlon, but the cross triathlon, the course is A to B. So if you want to check out the course beforehand, you need to find a way of kind of getting to the start and getting back again. And logistically, it's just easier if you have got access to a car. And obviously with the van, you can just put all the stuff in that you need. Then you don't have to drag your bikes around the airport, which is fun.
Yeah, well, that's what we're thinking. And we can bring our dog as well, which is even better. So when you do you stop in France then? Is there any particular places that you'd stop on the way down? Any tips on that?
Yeah, well, we stopped at different places each time. We've done it a couple of times now. We normally get the tunnel over in the evening and then stay in Calais. And then, do about 8 hours driving on the first day. I try and find a swimming pool en route so we can get out and have a swim. And then, the second day is just a 4-hour drive then down to Praktisi.
Yeah. Is it an easy drive down?
Yeah. Fairly straightforward. Yeah. And if there's two of you, you can share it.
Yeah. And what's the Praktisi like as a place?
The town's beautiful. It does
look
really
nice from the videos. Yeah.
It's a small little town, little square, and it just completely comes alive that week that the XTERRA's held. And you walk into the square during the day, and you're going to bump into somebody because it's just so small, and it creates a really nice atmosphere in there. Everybody's out having a good time. I guess the only downside is getting accommodation.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Any hints of tips on accommodation?
Well, we found one that we like. It's called the Bed and Bike. But I would have thought they're probably booked out by now because I tend to book it a year in advance.
Right, okay.
So I would recommend getting somewhere as close to Praktisi as you can, because that's really the hub of it all and where it all happens.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Much appreciated.
Yeah. If you do decide to do it, I'd say practice your hill running.
Yes.
Yeah,
I've done a few now. And I'm going to do, there's one at Dolby Forest coming up, a duathlon at Dolby Forest in or is it May? And I'm going to go and do that one as well before I go. So yeah, hill running. We live at the bottom of a hill, so we do hill repeats every week. So.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So, right, I'm not going to take any more of your time up. Thank you ever so much for coming on. It's been a fantastic chat, and I hope to see you when we're over in Czechia at Prakitar, is it? Is
Praktisi.
Praktisi, when we're over in
I think that's right anyway.
Hopefully we'll be there and we'll be able to watch your race.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for having me. I've been really enjoyed coming on the podcast and sharing my story.
And there she goes. I hope you enjoyed that one. It's not too often you get an insight into how elite sport goes. And thank you to Kerri-Ann for being candid with what goes on and how she got to where she is now. And just going forward, good luck with everything in the future. I hope you get the podiums and the places that you want, and you're working hard for them, so I'm sure they'll come. So that's it for now. If you'd like to get in touch, please drop us an email to agegroupmultisportpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram at amp_1967. We're on Facebook at ampgb, and we have our own YouTube channel at ampgb also. Please do feel free to share the podcast around to your like-minded friends, and let them know that we exist and we are here, and we've got hundreds of great stories from age groupers all around the world. But until next time, don't forget, stay safe, keep training, and love the process.